LEGO Star Wars has been releasing Christmas minifigures every year for quite a while now to celebrate the festive season. As Christmas is around the corner, I decided to rank every Star Wars Christmas minifigure from worst to best. These will include minifigures with unique prints or Christmas features, and not the few standard minifigures with minor Christmas elements. The first minifigure I want to look at is Rey in her holiday sweater, who I unfortunately regard as the worst Christmas minifigure. She was released in the Millennium Falcon Holiday Diorama set, which was a seasonal set available during the festive season of 2023. The minifigure is fairly bland, without any of the leg prints seen on other Rey minifigures, and generally not the most interesting Christmas minifigure out there. And then, very similar to the Rey minifigure, I want to look at Finn in his holiday sweater as well. This was another minifigure released in the same diorama set, and in my opinion just a little bit better than the Rey minifigure. The blue holiday sweater with the red Rebel logo looks really nice on this one, and matched with the darker blue leg piece with printing makes it a little bit better and nicer to look at, as this is an actual leg piece similar to other Finn minifigures released in the past. There are a bunch of Christmas astromech droids, but the worst between them all is, in my opinion, the R2-D2 with once again a holiday sweater. I think the red body piece with the C-3PO print looks quite strange and doesn't have the same effect on the astromech droid as it has on the standard minifigures, and looks very out of place here. The design is quite cute however, with the different Christmas patterns and the C-3PO print, and the idea of R2 having this sweater and 3PO having the R2 sweater is really nice and sweet actually. In 2019, LEGO released the exclusive Christmas X-Wing to its LEGO employees, and this became a really valuable set very quickly, with some really expensive Christmas minifigures. The Yuletide Squadron Pilot is one of the exclusive Santa-like minifigures in this set, but despite being worth around $500 today, I think he is a bit uninteresting. For one, I think he should have been dressed in the X-Wing pilot outfit, just in red, and have an X-Wing helmet with some exclusive Christmas print. Instead, we got what is actually a fairly basic minifigure that, other than the beard and the red visor, looks like any older B-Wing pilot, and after all, this is an X-Wing, so I don't really understand the design choice for this minifigure. Continuing on the theme of Christmas sweater minifigures, I want to look at Emperor Palpatine. This is a minifigure that had a lot of potential to be one of the coolest holiday sweater minifigures, as his red Death Star sweater is probably one of my favorites out of all of them. However, this minifigure looks incomplete, as an added cape is definitely necessary here. The hood piece without the cape looks really out of place and oversized, and without that cape this minifigure just isn't as good as some of the other Christmas characters, and just a black or a red cape would have added so much. From the latest 2024 advent calendar, I want to look at Princess Leia in once again her holiday sweater. She follows the blue and white color scheme, which I think is a color scheme that works very well with this character, and the Hoth battle being depicted on her sweater is quite nice. Other than that, the minifigure isn't anything super interesting, and quite boring without any leg printing or anything really special. But for a Christmas Leia, there isn't much else to be expected. In the same advent calendar, we got Luke Skywalker in a Christmas minifigure for the first time as well, and this is in his unique green holiday sweater. The black and green outfit goes really well with this Return of the Jedi version of Luke Skywalker, and the print depicts his home on Tatooine, which is a nice touch as well. This Luke Skywalker uses his newer hairpiece, which I personally don't really like that much, and I would much rather see this version of Luke with the older hairpieces used before, as that is just more iconic and classic and just a personal preference to me. Mentioned briefly earlier, I want to look at C-3PO in his Christmas sweater finally, this time a blue torso piece with a print of R2-D2. This was the second time we have seen C-3PO in a Christmas outfit, and this one was in the 2022 advent calendar alongside R2-D2. and definitely the better minifigure between the two, well, at least in my opinion, as it is depicting a proper minifigure and not the astromech pieces in this style. I think the blue sweater works really well with the gold colors of C-3PO, and honestly this color would also work much better on R2-D2 instead of the red sweater. Poe Dameron in his holiday sweater was released in the 2020 Advent calendar, and was one of the first Christmas sweater minifigures ever made, starting the trend for the next few years. I think his minifigure is really good, with a really fun green sweater design with a print of BB-8, and the brown leg piece matches well with this sweater, giving a nice warm and cozy look to this character. Despite having no leg printing, it is still really good. Now looking at the first version of C-3PO in his Christmas outfit, I have him in his Santa outfit from 2015. This was the last proper Santa minifigure releasing in the Advent calendars, unfortunately, and definitely one of the better Christmas minifigures, as these older Santa Claus minifigures were really cool and favored by so many fans every year. We had a neat red torso piece for this minifigure, and then the standard head and leg pieces, but we also saw a large white beard piece that managed to fit around 3PO's head really well, making a neat Christmas minifigure for 2015. Reaching the top 10, I want to look at another astromech droid, this time the Christmas astromech droid in the style of a Christmas tree, released in the 2014 Advent calendar. This set was probably one of the best Advent calendars, with 9 really good minifigures included, and this one was definitely one of the highlights of the set, with an exclusive dark green astromech droid body and the Christmas tree head with what almost seems like a yellow holocron as the star on top. From a couple years before, I want to look at yet again another astromech droid, and this time in the style of a white snowman, released in the 2012 Advent calendar, which was once again a classic and one of the best Advent calendars ever released. This is definitely the coolest Christmas astromech droid, in the all-white pieces with some prints looking like carvings in the snowballs, and some carrots as a final touch. Included top hat is another nice feature to give it that fun snowman vibe, celebrating the snowy festive season this year. Now what I consider as the best holiday sweater minifigure is Darth Vader. Alongside Poe Dameron, this was one of the first of its kind, and this time with a red Death Star sweater. I think the torso piece found on Palpatine is much better, but this one just works really well with this version of Darth Vader. And the included cape piece rounds this minifigure off much better than that of Emperor Palpatine. This was definitely a great start to the trend of Christmas sweaters in Advent calendars back in 2020, and one of the coolest minifigures released in these Advent calendars. A year later, in the 2021 Advent calendar, we got to see the Mandalorian in a Christmas style, a minifigure that was definitely bound to happen at some point. This was a really interesting one that was a really subtle Christmas minifigure, unlike the others, as all he got was this cute little red scarf print around the top of the torso, and many people would rather want a full Christmas torso for this minifigure as seen with Jango Fett, but I think this is still rather nice, and definitely one of my favorite Christmas minifigures, despite the rest of the 2021 Advent calendar not being that great compared to the others. Jumping all the way back to 2011 for the next minifigure, this was the first Star Wars Christmas minifigure in the very first Star Wars Advent calendar, and that was Yoda in his Clone Wars style. This is quite a strange minifigure to make as the first Christmas minifigure, but regardless was really good and a great introduction to the Christmas and Santa minifigures in LEGO Star Wars. And the Yoda head mold based on the Clone Wars is just really cool to me, and I am very glad we could see him in this style. In 2019, however, we did get a remake of this Santa minifigure, and that was the Yoda included in the Christmas X-Wing once again, this time with an updated torso piece and the newer head mold we know and love today. The white gloves is a nice little added touch, and the short green legs looks better than the all red outfit of the previous version, at least in my opinion. However, None of the parts in this minifigure were exclusive to the set, so it isn't that valuable or really that outstanding today. Probably one of the most unique versions of Chewbacca is his all-white, snowy look seen in the Advent calendar released in 2016, which is, in my opinion, one of the last really good Advent calendars. This is a really cool minifigure, and the all-white look on Chewbacca is a really nice variation to the several different Wookiee characters made before. And if it wasn't for the red and green bandolier, this could even go as a minifigure depicting an albino Wookiee such as Tojavek, seen in some Star Wars comics. Before reaching the top 3, if you enjoy any of these videos, consider subscribing, as it will help this channel reach the goal of 3,000 subscribers really soon. In 2012 we saw the second Advent calendar in the now long line of sets, and this one included a Santa version of Darth Maul. Darth Maul was a really interesting choice for the second year of these Advent calendars, as many people would expect to see some iconic original trilogy characters. But this one worked fairly well, and is quite iconic today. We got to see a nice unique torso piece for this minifigure, and an all red look for his Santa outfit of course. And he is also the only Santa minifigure including some hood piece, which is quite nice to see. The runner-up in this video is the Jango Fett minifigure released in the third year of Advent calendars, and I was really close to putting him at the number 1 position, as I just really like this minifigure a lot, but eventually decided against it. The torso piece is really just so cool, and exactly what I would want to see from a Santa Mandalorian character. And in a way, I really hope that in some Advent calendar in the future, we see an updated version for perhaps Boba Fett this time, including some arm printing this time on the red Mandalorian torso piece. But overall, in 2013 this one did a really good job. What I consider the best Christmas minifigure in LEGO Star Wars is the Santa Darth Vader released in 2014, in what I also consider the best LEGO Star Wars Advent calendar ever released. This minifigure is exactly what I want to see from a Christmas Star Wars minifigure. One of the most iconic Star Wars characters depicted in a Santa outfit that visibly covers his standard uniform. This minifigure uses the older Darth Vader helmet, which is super classic and iconic, and despite the newer one being better objectively, this older one is just super nostalgic, and in a way I like it even more. I really wish we could get some Santa minifigures today like this, with the open jacket or cloak printed around the torso piece and legs, as it just worked so well on this one. Let me know what is your favorite Christmas minifigure, and what you hope to see next year. Then I will see you all in the next video, and may God bless you this festive season.